When she told me she was going on a girls' trip, I didn't think much of it at first. Her voice was casual, almost too casual, the kind of tone people use when they've already rehearsed the sentence. She said it over breakfast, half smiling as she buttered her toast. "Trish and I are heading to Palm Ridge for the weekend," she said. I remember nodding, pretending it was normal, pretending I hadn't noticed how she avoided eye contact. For the first time in 5 years, she didn't ask if I wanted to join her. That alone said enough. She packed light, which was strange. The woman who needed 2 bags for a 2-day wedding now claimed she could survive a weekend with 1 suitcase. No itinerary, no shared calendar entry, no request for money, just a quick kiss on the cheek and, "Don't wait up, okay?" The front door closed. Silence. Even the refrigerator hum felt louder that morning. I told myself not to overthink it. Everyone needs space. But space doesn't usually come with secrets. By noon, the unease had crawled under my skin. I opened our shared calendar, nothing. Checked our emails, no flight confirmations. It wasn't the lack of trust that pushed me, it was the lack of trace. She left behind her dinner plate from the night before, wrapped neatly in foil. It stared at me from the fridge like evidence of routine, the kind that used to make me feel safe. Her father called that evening, asking if she was still coming for family dinner. She said she'd see us at 7, he reminded me. I told him she was out of town. He hesitated. Again? That single word, again, stuck in my head like a splinter. After I hung up, I sat at the kitchen table and stared at that cold plate. Maybe it wasn't paranoia. Maybe it was pattern. The next morning, the silence felt heavier. I poured 2 mugs of coffee out of habit, then poured 1 down the sink. Her seat at the table looked cleaner than usual, untouched, almost staged. A thought crossed my mind. If she's lying, it'll show in the details. That's when the quiet part of me, the part that doesn't panic, just plans, woke up. I picked up my phone and texted Trish, one of her 2 reliable friends. "Hey, just checking in. Lauren got there safe?" The typing dots appeared, stopped, then reappeared. "Finally, yeah, she's good. We're just relaxing." "Nice," I wrote. "Where exactly are you guys staying?" No reply. I waited. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing. That's when I knew something was wrong. When people lie, they don't just avoid answers. They start rearranging reality to protect the lie. And that's exactly what it felt like. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was curious, dangerously calm, the kind of calm that comes right before a storm. So I opened our bank app. Rideshare charge to the airport. Then a flight ticket, 1 seat, not 2. Then hotel charge under her name at Palm Ridge Resort. Palm Ridge, we hadn't been there in 3 years. Not since our anniversary trip, when she said she loved that place because it felt quiet. The irony didn't even make me laugh. I closed the app, grabbed a notepad, and wrote 3 words, no mention, no flight info. 1 seat, that's how my mind works. I don't yell, I document, because when truth finally steps into the room, it needs witnesses. That night, she texted, "Made it safe. Girls' trip started. Don't burn the house down." I replied with a thumbs up. She didn't expect silence, she expected suspicion, and silence makes liars nervous. Hours later, another text came through. A photo of a pool, 2 lounge chairs, a drink, and a magazine on a towel. Caption, "See? Just girls." I zoomed in. No faces, no reflection. The magazine issue was last month's. That's when my heartbeat slowed, and something inside me clicked. Not pain, not shock, just acceptance. Because once you stop arguing with lies, you start planning for truth. The next morning, I woke up earlier than usual, opened the blinds, and wrote 1 more note under yesterday's list. Don't chase. Observe. If she wanted a show, I'd let her perform, but I'd keep the receipts for the encore. The following day, I went about my routine as if nothing had happened. I shaved, made breakfast, answered emails, ordinary things, because nothing unsettles a liar more than realizing you're not chasing them. By mid-morning, I called Nate, my oldest friend, the one who runs an auto shop across town. "You sound like a man doing math," he said. "I'm just noticing things." "Noticing what?" "Patterns," he chuckled. "Patterns lead to proof." "You sure you want proof?" "I don't chase ghosts, Nate. I document them." He went quiet for a second, then said, "You know where the spare key is. Come by later, we'll torque something instead of thinking." That afternoon, I opened my laptop and searched Palm Ridge Resort. Their Instagram was public, overflowing with photos from guests. I wasn't hunting faces, just frames, the pool deck, the railing, the lighting. Each picture gave me another piece of geography. Then a post stopped me. A travel influencer had tagged the same resort 2 hours earlier. In the reflection of her sunglasses, I saw the bar behind her. Same diamond-cut railing, same palm shadows. And in the corner of that reflection, a shape that looked familiar, Lauren's beach bag. It wasn't proof, but it was enough to make my pulse flatten into that dangerous calm again. I texted Trish once more. Hey, Lauren's dad's asking which spa she's at so he can send flowers. I don't want to get it wrong. This time she replied fast. Palm Ridge Resort and Spa. We got here yesterday around noon. She's fine. I checked the timestamps from the night before. Her flight charge at 5:25 p.m. Arrival at noon? Impossible. Either Trish couldn't keep the timeline straight, or she was cleaning up someone else's mess. That was the first lie I could measure. I decided to build a list. Proofs, timestamps, contradictions, not to destroy her, but to be ready when truth finally walked through the door. By evening, my phone buzzed again, a video call. Lauren. I let it ring twice before answering. She appeared smiling, sunlight on her face, drink in hand. Hey, handsome, look, we're at the pool. She panned the camera just enough to show palm trees and lounge chairs. No people. Looks nice, I said. It is. I needed this so bad. You know how work's been. Yeah. Which room did they give you? She blinked. Why? In case the hotel calls about you. Emergencies happen. You're so controlling sometimes, she said with a laugh that didn't reach her eyes. Just practical. She rolled her eyes. You always were. Then the call ended. The moment her face vanished, I set my phone down and stared at the dark screen. That tiny reflection of myself looked like someone I didn't fully recognize. Colder, sharper, awake. Later that night, Nate called again. Still doing math? Finish the equation, I said. Result? She's not alone. Then what's the plan? Stay silent. Collect facts. No scenes, no speeches, just truth. Friday came. I left work early, drove to the shop, and helped Nate change a brake line just to keep my hands busy. As we worked, he asked, "What will you do when she gets back?" Let her talk first, I said. People tell the truth when silence makes them uncomfortable. Back home, I opened social media again. One of Lauren's co-workers, Becca, had posted a boomerang video from a bar at Palm Ridge. The camera swept across bottles and glass light, and for a fraction of a second, a man lifted his drink. Broad shoulders, short dark hair. The tag on the post read, A Conference Weekend, #Palm Ridge. I clicked his profile. Mike Warren, vendor rep. He'd visited our office once, chatted with Lauren for 10 minutes about hiking. I remembered because she mentioned him later, too casually. Scrolling his feed, I saw another photo. Same resort, same day, same diamond railing. Caption, work hard, unwind harder, and in the reflection of the glass behind him, a woman's silhouette with Lauren's jacket draped over her shoulders. I took screenshots, every angle, every timestamp. Then I sat back, exhaled slowly, and whispered, "Got you." That night I drafted 2 emails. The first to my attorney, subject line, consultation request. I attached the screenshots, short bullet point notes, nothing emotional, just facts. The second email wasn't sent, not yet. It was addressed to Mike Warren's wife. I'd found her name on a local charity page, linked to his profile. The subject line read, "You deserve to know." I saved it as a draft. It wasn't revenge, it was symmetry. Before bed, I wrote one more note in my journal. Truth doesn't need noise, it needs timing. The next morning, her text arrived early. Miss you. Simple. Safe. A classic test to see if I'd cracked. I replied, I miss honesty. She didn't respond. That silence told me everything. 2 days later, Becca posted another photo. This time a clear shot of the bar's fire pit. Mike again, laughing. And in the blur beside him, the unmistakable shape of Lauren's hair in the firelight. Her necklace glinted, the one I'd bought for our 4th anniversary. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. No anger, just a clean, cold focus. That night I finally sent the second email. Polite, factual. Attached screenshots. No threats, no insults, just the truth, delivered quietly to the person who deserved it most. Then I turned off my phone and slept. For the first time in days, I slept through the night. Because once the truth starts moving, you don't have to chase it, You just have to stand still and let it arrive. Sunday arrived the way storms do, quiet, heavy, inevitable. I woke early, cleaned the kitchen and straightened the house. Every surface was clear, every light in its place. Truth deserves order. By 5:30, I'd packed her things neatly into 2 suitcases and set them beside the guest room door. Not thrown, not hidden, arranged. Beside them lay an envelope, printed screenshots, bank statements, a copy of the email I'd sent to Mike's wife, and a single note on top that read, "For your records." At 5:58, headlights swept across the window. Her car rolled into the driveway. She came in smiling like nothing had happened, dragging a carry-on that sounded too small for a 3-day trip. "Hey, stranger," she said, voice bright. "Miss me?" "Always," I answered, and stepped aside so she could see the guest room door wide open. Her smile wavered. "What's this?" "Temporary arrangement," I said. "We'll talk in there." She laughed lightly, the way people do when they think they can charm their way through smoke. "You're being dramatic." "Maybe," I said. "Sit down." She didn't. She hovered by the suitcases, eyes darting. "What's going on, Ryan? Tell me about Palm Ridge." She blinked. "What about it? Who went with you?" "Trish and some girls from her office. You don't know them. Same line, same script." I waited a beat. "Names. Why does that matter?" "Because liars forget details." Her jaw tightened. "You're starting again with this controlling stuff. Stop." My voice didn't rise, but the air changed. She stopped. I reached for the envelope and slid the first photo across the table, the reflection in the bar window, her jacket beside Mike's arm, color drained from her face. "What is this?" she whispered. "That's what honesty looks like when it finally finds daylight." She didn't speak, so I kept going, calmly, methodically. "The flight you booked left at 5:25 p.m. You told Trish's dad you arrived at noon. Time doesn't bend that way. And this," I tapped the picture, "is the same bar you said didn't exist." Her hands trembled. "You've been spying on me." "No," I said. "I've been listening to the math." Tears welled, fell, and didn't move me. "I made a mistake," she said. "No," I corrected. "You made a choice." She looked at the envelope, at the tidy suitcases, at me. "You're not even angry." I was for about 5 minutes, then I realized anger gives you an audience. She wiped her face. "We can fix this. I'll end it. I'll block him. Please." "Already handled," I said. "His wife knows." Her head snapped up. "You... what?" I sent her the screenshots. Quietly. No commentary. Just the truth. She deserved the same clarity you refused to give me. She stepped back like the words had weight. "That's cruel." "No. Cruel is pretending loyalty while spending my name on someone else's time." She sank into the chair at last, voice small. "What happens now?" "You move to the guest room for tonight. Tomorrow we sign papers. Wednesday we discuss logistics. Sunday we close the book. You planned this?" "Since Thursday." For a moment neither of us spoke. The clock on the wall ticked like an execution drum. Finally she said, "You're ice." I nodded. "Ice doesn't melt under fire. It waits and it shapes the flood." Her shoulders sagged. "I don't know who you are anymore." "The same man who believed you," I said. "Just one who stopped volunteering for illusions." She looked down, whispering through the tears. "I hate you." "You don't. You hate the silence. You hate that the play ended, and the audience went home." She stood, reaching for one of the suitcases, then stopped. "What am I supposed to tell my parents?" "The truth. I already called your father. You had no right. I had the obligation. Lies rot fastest in daylight." Her face broke. Not the gentle sadness of guilt, but the brittle collapse of someone who realizes the script won't save them. She turned toward the hallway. "Can I at least say goodbye?" "You just did." She hesitated, then left the room. The suitcase wheels hummed across the tile, a door shut softly. I sat alone for a long time, the quiet thick enough to touch. No triumph, no gloating, just completion. When people talk about revenge, they imagine noise, shouting, slammed doors, final words. But the truest revenge is the kind you can sip with your coffee, while the world rebalances itself. 3 months later, I was living in a small, one-story place with sunlight that didn't feel borrowed. Nate and I rebuilt an old workbench in his shop. It smelled like clean oil and second chances. Her name still popped up now and then. Someone mentioning she'd moved, dyed her hair, went quiet on social media. I didn't smile, didn't ache, just noted it, like weather. Sometimes I drive past Palm Ridge on my way to meetings. The palms cut the horizon, the railings shine in the light. I look once, not long, not bitter, just aware. Because the thing about exposure is this: you don't do it to destroy someone. You do it to remind yourself that truth, once uncovered, doesn't need to shout. It just stands there, clean, cold,